Sup Fleur Squad, welcome back to my channel and to a video created to raise funds for BTS's comeback. Revenue created from this video will be donated to Boraje Funds. Screenshots will be shared on Twitter, xCeleste ____ along with updates. This is a free way to help with funds if you can't donate. For our last comeback, we were able to raise $380, so that was amazing, you guys. Please check my community page or Twitter post for instructions on how to stream for max revenue. Link to my Twitter post will be in my description box and pinned comment. Enjoy this video. Welcome back to Interlude Army. Today we'll be interviewing the amazing singer, songwriter, multi-platinum record artist, Max.
Hey, thanks for having me, bro.
No problem, no problem. First of all, thank you so much for taking your time to join us. Unfortunately, Jose was not able to make it today, but don't worry, he's here in spirit. And he actually does have a couple of questions for you, so I'm going to be asking that.
Questions from in spirit, I like that. Let's do it.
But of course, I want to say congratulations. You've obtained, 40 million streams for you and Yoongi?
Fans have been amazing. Thank you guys for streaming. It's been amazing.
No, it's insane. I just want to tell you how talented and amazing you are. And so on behalf of Army, thank you so much for being so humble, down to earth, and also a good friend to Yoongi. So.
Pleasure. It's easy to be a good friend to him. He's such a good friend to me too.
Oh, that's so sweet. For those who haven't heard the story yet, for those who are listening, how did you end up meeting BTS and how did the collaboration with Yoongi all come about?
Yeah, I was in Seoul for the first time in January of 2020. Had my first show there, and of course we'd been giving love to each other's music for so long. I said, I'm coming to Seoul. If they're there at the same time, it would be amazing to finally meet them. So put that energy into the universe, and luckily it happened. I was supposed to meet Jungkook and Yoongi at the same time, and I was at a shoe shop like an hour before, find out that Jungkook wasn't feeling so well, so I was just gonna meet Yoongi. But everything happens for a reason, because I get to the Bighit offices and I didn't expect much, and we ended up just hitting it off. We just like dove deep really quickly into music and basketball and Korean food and just everything. We just bonded. You meet somebody sometimes and it's too easy. You're meant to be friends. Right. And so that's what the vibe was with us. And at that same first meeting, again, no expectations. He just said, "I'd love to have you. I'm working on a project. I want you to be on a song of it." And I looked around, my friend Joel and my friend Evan were in the room. We were just like, "Oh yeah, for sure. Anything you want, I'm in." So yeah, that's how Burn It happened on August D. And at the same time, since he said that, I said, well, it'd be my honor to have you on the song on my album. And fast forward, bring him to his first basketball game in LA. He'd never been to one. And at that game, I pitched him a different song on the album. And then I ended up, he didn't feel that one. So I just sent him the whole album. He jumped on Blueberry Eyes. Boom, both the songs in the world, and that's the story in a nutshell.
Welcome back to Interlude Army. Today we're interviewing an award-winning celebrity interviewer, Liam McEwen.
Hey, thanks for having me. I was just saying off air that I absolutely love what you guys do. So thank you so much for being such a great voice for the Army.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Of course. And it's so cool to be here as well. After looking at your stuff and hearing your voice, it's so cool to actually be able to see you.
That's how I feel. So to actually talk to someone.
It must be a weird feeling.
It really is, but it's a good, unique feeling, I guess you could say.
I like to hear that.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking your time to join us. I know you're in a tight schedule, so thank you for fitting us in your schedule, Liam.
Of course, sorry. Usually I wouldn't have lots of things to do, but we're about to drop a brand new BTS interview. So everything is going crazy. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to speak to you today, I was saying, is because it's a great time to talk about, obviously, Dynamite, talk about this new interview and what's going on with the boys.
Yes, and I cannot wait to hear your experience with this recent interview. So a lot of people have been talking about their experiences, also mentioning that the friendship between the boys are actually it's genuine. You know what I mean? And that's the experience that made you into a fan? That moment when you realized?
Yeah, it was just like getting to see them interact. You know what I mean? Like laughing with each other and joking with each other. Like even in this latest interview I've done, some of the boys are just like interacting with each other. And it's like, that's just so nice to see. You know, you spend so much time with each other, you're in the middle of an interview, and yet you still want to make jokes with the person you. And that's just them. And it's really cool to see. But of course, yes, that made me a fan, but then you can't deny the talent that these boys have.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like, I think the first music video I watched was Not Today. And then the second music, so this is ages ago, this is like 2017, early 2017. And the second video I watched was Blood, Sweat and Tears.
Oof.
Both bangers, right?
Yeah.
Both
Yeah.
sensational songs and music videos. And I was with one of my guy friends, you know, and he was like, he's not usually he's like into like rock music. Do you know what I mean? That's what I mean by like a guy friend, a manly man. And we were watching it, and even he was like captivated by this talent. So, and that's another thing that I've learned, I guess, through being in the fandom and getting to know ARMY and meeting people like you guys, and you know, the people that might come up to me at a BTS show or wherever we may be. There's really no peak demographic for the boys, if that makes sense. There's really not one lane that you could say that they're in.
Welcome back to Interlude Army. Today we have a very special guest joining us. We are very honored and excited to have the opportunity to speak to Jungian psychoanalyst, author, and lecturer, Dr. Murray Stein. He's the man behind the book Jung's Map of the Soul, the very book BTS has based their Map of the Soul era around. Please welcome Dr. Murray Stein.
Hello.
How are you today?
Oh, I'm just fine. Excellent.
RM recently did state that they combined 2 albums in one for this most recent album. What did you think of BTS combining the shadow and the ego in this album, Map of the Soul 7?
I did look at it quite carefully, and the songs that they included and the ones they didn't, and wrote commentary on those songs. I think it works. The way the album runs is that they start with the more superficial level of persona, and then it deepens into shadow, and then it ends up with a very strong affirmation of ego integrity, which is a development that we see in people who are going through a maturation process. We often see it in our analytic work with patients. You start with recognition of the persona. You start working with shadow aspects. You bring them out into the open. You let yourself feel them. You let yourself express them in some ways, which is what you see in these numbers. And then you also feel that song, Black Swan, I found very impressive. A kind of crushing weight of the shadow figures around the white swan. That's a period of darkness and sometimes depression that we go through. The shadow and the person are united. That's an integration of the shadow. And then toward the end, there is an affirmation of the ego, very strong. And that's very important climax of the first half of life, to achieve ego strength, to affirm oneself as an individual, and to take a stand and a standpoint as an individual. So I found that development in the album very interesting, impressive, and psychologically sound.
Welcome back to Interlude Army. Today we have a very special guest joining us. We are excited to have the opportunity to interview Sleep Deez. He helped produce Jungkook's song My Time. So please welcome Sleep Deez.
Hello.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Doing good.
Doing good.
I mean, you did mention that you had to come up with a bunch of drafts, and that's kind of common within the industry, but how was your experience working with Bighit and Jungkook himself?
For me, I actually prefer the method of communication out of Korea a lot more than I do in America. And I don't care what anybody thinks about that here in America. If they're listening, they can learn something. No, seriously, like music is a very collaborative thing, right? And I feel like a lot of people just kind of want to have something to say just to have something to say. For me, if I can't add to the conversation, then I'm probably going to be quiet. And so sometimes we deal with like you saying like, I just don't know, but not from Korea. Korea is like at the 2-minute and 12-second mark. Can we change this here? After this mark, can we change? Or can we try something more like this? And it's just very, very detailed. And for some people, that might seem anal, or if you're a little bit spoiled, you might, or if you have like a bit of an ego, you might feel a certain way about that. But not me. I prefer to work with people that know what they want out of a record, because it's not about me at that point, right? It's about the song and whatever is best for the song. So the revisions, they were never like full out, like make a whole nother track. It was always just small things, small things that lead to big things. That's really what music is. You're putting a lot of small parts together to make one big thing. So it was pretty cool to go through that process on a song, because it's different, right? Because it's such a big album, you know, and they knew that better than I did, because they know their selves and they know what their goals are, and they know what they're going towards. While me, like, you know, I'm just kind of just like, hey, whatever you guys need, I'll do it. So the fact that they were very precise on the edits, it helped me deliver what they needed from me. So I prefer that method of communication, because you can't get anything done without communication. So
that's true.
Yeah.